I love that.
He loves it. Opinions Unqualified. Welcome to this week's episode. We're in Nixie's back room. And we're actually been pretty excited, Sammy, about some of the analytics that you've seen with regards to our listeners.
Yeah, so our analytics that we hit every once in a while, we've got a few different countries. We have 9% from the United States.
That's a big number.
That is a big number.
9% is a big number.
We've got 1% from Ireland. Under 1% Belgium.
Yep.
Under 1% Germany. Under 1% Italy. Under 1% United Kingdom. Under 1% India. And under 1% Mexico.
And 87%
Australia.
So that, I reckon, if I was good at mathematics, it means we've got at least 12 listeners. At least, because it has to be under 1%, for us to... So at least 12.
Big numbers out here.
Yeah, but it's interesting, 9% from America. So, and obviously you've spent some time in America, Sam. So, and I've got some friends that are based over there. So, you homies, that's how they talk, isn't it? Homies?
Nah, bro.
Oh, how do they talk in America?
I don't know, just like us.
Really?
A little different accent.
G'day, mates. Appreciate the support. But so thanks for listening. Today we have a very, very special guest, and I mean special in all aspects of the word. He is actually a young man that I believe in a great deal. I think he's got a lot of potential in a lot of areas in life. He's very kind, very gentle, very loving, very intelligent. He is funny at times, and once you get to know him, you can definitely see all of these different personality traits shine. So nice. I'd like to welcome Daniel Vlahov. Daniel, how are you, brother?
Always good, man. Always good. Happy to be here.
And I had to drop your last name because we never drop anyone's last name, but your last name is synonymous.
Yeah. I get it a lot.
Yeah, to greatness.
Yeah. I get that a lot. All throughout high school, man. All throughout high school. Yeah.
How's Uncle Andrew?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's good, bro. He's good.
So just to start with, I'm just going to throw the questions at you straight away. So you've been one of the unfortunate people, and my brother's had a couple, and I've known a lot of friends being in sport that have gone through this. But you've done your ACL, and you've come back from an ACL, and then unfortunately, you're unfortunate to do it again. But you've decided to take a different tact. To most Australians and not have surgery, and you're pretty close to being back.
I am back.
Yeah, so you're back now.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah.
So can you talk us through, your decision making when you came to actually having to make the decision and going the non-surgical route, and then just maybe some of the science behind it all?
Yeah. Well, to start off with, right, so I tore my ACL, had surgery. 10 months later, I was at training. I was almost back, and then I tore it again. Right, so then I went to the surgeon, and the following week I was gonna have surgery again. Right, everything was going well, like I was preparing for surgery, and then Jason, got in contact with me. Jason from Empower Physiotherapy.
Drop that bomb.
Drop that bomb.
Gee whiz.
Exactly. He got in contact with me, and basically he said, I don't need to jump straight into surgery because So what a lot of people say is to do at least 3 months of what they call prehab before you do surgery, right? So in America and in Australia, right, if you tear your ACL, surgeons will look at it and be like, something's wrong, we've got to operate straight away, right? Over in Europe, if you tear your ACL, it's 50% of the people have the surgery, 50% don't have surgery, right? So it's really big in Europe. It's not big at all over here. So we said, give it 3 months of what we call prehab, right? And prehab is just basically getting your legs strong, right? So basically, like for 3 months straight, I was squatting, I was running. It was just real intense. Just trying to like build strength in my knees, right? And basically after that 3 months, if your knees aren't giving away, if you're stable, if you're running, if you're walking, if you're doing everything back to normal, well, then you would try another few more months, right, of continuing that process without surgery, right? So basically, it's like teaching your body how to adapt without an ACL, right? And it all comes down with your mind. Like, your mind is a huge factor in like any like recovery thing. And I think here we shy away from that. You know what I mean? Like, we see things on like MRI reports, you know, like they're torn, so we have to fix it straight away. But like we need to like teach ourselves to like operate without that ligament. So that was interesting because he said, look, you know, like, you try the 3 months, and if my knee is still giving away, then you have the surgery. But me doing that 3 months, that's gonna enhance my recovery after surgery, as well. So there was real pros to both ways, like, from that. But I did the 3 months. I was running. I was pretty much playing basketball after 3 months. So he said, look, we'll do like another 3 months, and then I think it was like 6-7 months. I was back playing pro basketball without surgery. Yeah,
it's pretty insane. Like, because I know, like, when my brother did his ACL, man, he was in getting it repaired within like a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, and then he did it again, and then they had him doing surgery again after a week. And then I've got another friend of mine who did their ACL playing football, and then they did it again, and then I told them about your story, and they're like, "Oh no, that's
the thing." Yeah.
And I'm like,
"Yeah,
but you had the surgery twice, and you did it, you know, and you've done it again, and you haven't worried about getting it fixed, and you just don't do anything." So I just think it's a real negative mindset when it gets to, you know, trying different new things.
100%.
Do you have an ACL?
I don't have it. It's torn.
So it's just... So it's because you remember Dejuan Blair?
Dejuan Blair,
he was
Spurs.
with no knees.
Yeah.
Did he get rid of his, or was he's like the same sort of scenario as you? Because I don't know what. I just remember, like, he had no
ACLs.
ACLs and a couple other.
I don't think he was born like that. I think he tore him.
Yeah.
He tore him when he was like a kid, and then like he just got used to it. Like, he just didn't have the surgeries. But yeah, like, Jerome Blair was one of those. But yeah, like, it's just, you know, like you said, like your mate. Like, I got the same thing as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people like just being negative about it. But it's just like what we're like used to, right?
Yeah.
Like, in Australia and like in America, like, if you tear your ACL, it's just, oh shoot, like, when's like surgery? You know what I mean? But like in Europe, like, the normal over there is, are you gonna have surgery or are you not gonna have surgery? But like, they always do that 3 months
of prehab.
You know what I mean? And then you see where you're at, because that prehab, if you're like stable, well, then you don't need surgery, then, right? But if your knee's not stable, then your like legs are strong, much stronger than they were before, and that's gonna help that like rehab after the surgery. You know
well,
what I mean?
I spoke to Jason, Empower Physiotherapy.
Empower Physiotherapy. Yeah.
Jeez.
Drop a couple.
How much did he pay you before this?
Mate, nothing yet. Nothing yet.
He pays me in other ways.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and he said it's not for everyone though.
No.
Yeah. So not everyone can do it.
That's
so it
what
has
I'm
to be a certain type of tear or.
No, like, he didn't mean it like that. What he means by that is, if you do the 3 months, your knees can still give away.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's what he meant by that. So like, if your knees are still giving way, well, then obviously, like, you need to have the surgery, because your knees aren't structurally functioning properly, right? So then you need the ACL. But obviously my knees are like functioning fine, and I don't need an ACL, so I've taught my body without needing an ACL.
And now you're back balling again.
Straight facts, man.
Yeah, getting buckets,
killing it, bro.
breaking people down,
Facts.
smashing ankles.
Well, man, I got a good coach in you, bro. And there's skill sessions, man.
That's it, man. So Sam, you brought something in, and I love these things, bro. Like, I really do.
Yeah. So look, it's maybe a few days ago, I went foraging in the cupboard to see what there was to snack on. And I seen a packet of Oreos.
Yep.
And I thought, you know what, I haven't had these in a while. They're pretty good, so, you know, I'll grab them. And then I was just sitting there in my bed eating these Oreos, watching some Netflix, and I was like, man, Oreos might be severely underrated.
Man, I could not agree more. I think Oreos are one of those things where you see them and you're like, yeah, they're pretty good. But then you eat them and you might. This is the best stuff that I've ever had. For that moment, they're the best thing in the world.
Facts,
Do you reckon they get taken for granted?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like-
definitely.
It's just like, oh, it's just an Oreo. So like, and then you get it, and then you're like, oh damn, this is an Oreo. Like, this is
Yeah.
good. Like,
I actually think it's the cost of them because I see packets of Oreos for $1. You're like, oh man, it's $1. That's cheap, man, and that's value. I'm telling you now, that is value.
Yeah.
Go get a packet of Oreos for $1, and just enjoy that in one sitting. I'm not encouraging binge eating, but with Oreos, there's no such thing.
have to.
You just got to.
It'd be rude not to. It'd be rude not to.
So I think you see the price and you're like, oh, they can't be that good.
yeah.
And then you get them and you're like, man, these are so damn good. Do you know what would make them better? There's one thing that would make
What?
Oreos better if they were bigger.
You reckon?
Yeah,
I'm actually a big fan of the minis. You know how you get the tubs
Minis.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
with the Oreo? I'm actually a big fan of the minis.
I like the normal size Oreo, but I like them to be a bit bigger.
Yeah.
You know, like a Subway cookie size.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
wow!
That's
well,
a
my
big-
mum, like, she buys like the chocolate covered.
Yeah.
So they're chocolate covered Oreos.
Oh really?
Yeah, man.
I didn't even know you could
That's
get
the
them.
business. Yeah.
They did
Chocolate
like
covered.
wafer sticks as well.
Did they?
Yeah, with like the Oreo wafer kind of thing. They're so versatile as well. You know, like there's so many different types of Oreos.
Yeah. Well.
Like minis, the
Yeah.
wafers, chocolate covered, like,
Yeah. Sort of like because I love a Tim Tam.
yeah.
I
Tams,
love a Tim Tam, and I love a Tim Tam straw, and I just enjoy that. But there's nothing better than the original Tim Tam
Oh, just
because they
the
have all
origi-
these
yeah.
different flavors.
The original's
the original is the
go-to.
best.
Yeah, like, you can't go wrong with those ones. But I'm more of like a caramel man. I love the Tim Tam caramel ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, like over them. Yeah, for sure.
Really?
Anything caramel. Oh, 100%. Oh,
Do you know a cheap way to make caramel?
what's that?
So you can get a condensed milk. Go buy condensed milk.
Okay.
Boil it.
Me buying it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
This,
me.
man, seriously, you go buy
Okay.
a tin of condensed milk
Yep.
and boil it,
Yeah.
and like boil it for like an hour and a half.
Oh.
Yeah, and just leave it there boiling.
Okay.
And then take the tin out. All right, open that bad boy up, and that is a jar of caramel. That's what caramel is. It's caramel, just a jar of caramel. It's delicious.
Actual.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. Condensed milk. Boil that up, and then you can put it in the fridge and spread it on bread. It's good. Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. I will do that.
Yeah, do
Thank
that.
You.
Do that, yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you for that.
Yeah,
It's actually
you-
made my day.
You will love that.
Yeah.
Back to the Oreo. Though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
So we got the caramel train there.
For the caramel.
Yeah. I think another important question is, we'll talk about the normal sized Oreos.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you eat them?
Oh.
Do I have a cup of tea or not?
No,
No,
you
some
just having
people-
Oreos. You just having Oreos.
All right, so I just got Oreos.
Yeah, not accompanied by anything else.
First one, I'll twist and separate.
Yeah.
And eat the icing first.
Yeah.
And then eat the biscuits. Second one, what I'm going to do is eat it as a proper Oreo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the third one, I'm going to make sure I have a cup of tea and I dip that. And I dip
In
it
tea?
Yeah. And I dip it for like a second.
Yeah.
And then I eat the whole Oreo in my mouth. Just one
yeah.
drop in.
Tea.
Yeah. And that's my 3 Oreo tradition.
That's it. So I think I stick with the breaking them apart,
Yeah.
get the icing,
Yeah.
and then finish it off.
Okay.
Simple. But if I'm lazy, I might just
Shove it in.
chuck the biscuit.
Yeah, yeah. Dan, how you eating Oreo?
Me and my brothers, right? We're huge with like Nutella. So like, so we'll get that and we'll dip it in Nutella.
Oh, Oreo
Yeah,
in Nutella.
man. I'm being serious. That sounds the business. We'll dip that in like Nutella. Anything in Nutella, man. We'll
Really?
dip that in for sure.
That explains a
100%.
lot about Nick.
Oh, he's broken. He's broken.
That explains a lot.
That kid, I'm being serious. Especially like these last few years. You know what I mean? Like, he was a bit shy.
Yeah.
Like a bit chubby.
Yeah,
Like he was shy, but now like he's grown up. You know, like he's
dropped
tall.
some weight, yeah,
he's
he's
tall,
tall,
and
yeah.
now he's just gone out of his shell. And like these last few years, man, he's just been this arrogant, funny little shit.
Next level.
Gee
Piss-
whiz.
Yeah, he's a funny one, man. He's a funny one.
Talking about things like, so the caramel thing.
Yeah.
So I want to shift to like toffee. Have you guys ever made toffee? Do you guys like toffee?
I'll eat it. I eat anything.
So basically toffee is sugar and vinegar. And you just cook that up. It is
Yeah.
so good. So
Yeah,
good.
right.
My old man used to make it. And we'd just have a little cook off. And we'd have all of this toffee just in the fridge. Just grab one and just bung away. But those things are so bad for you, like caramel, toffee, because it's just sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's so good. So good.
It's pretty cool how they make it though as well. Like I went to like a place like in Bunbury, and they like actually showed you like how they make all the toffee.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's actually like it's pretty cool, man.
It is cool.
They wrap it all around in that like machine thing. It's just cool.
I
Like that.
So if you go down, it's like the honeycomb as well. Like you go down south to Quarramapp, and they have the candy cow down there. I love that place. That place is so good, and you can get like honeycomb, like just pure honeycomb, and they show you how they make that down there, and it's incredible. Or you can go to Rock Candy. You ever been to Rock Candy?
No, I've never been there.
Yeah, so you can go to Rock Candy, and what they do is they show you making the candy, and they're rolling it out and all that sort of stuff, and then they can put like your name in it and all sorts of stuff.
Can you spell Quarramapp?
Quarramapp.
Yeah, Quarramapp.
Yeah, yeah. So it's C
Yeah,
O W
yeah.
A R A M U P. Quarramapp.
Nice. And you know what the funniest thing about this was?
What?
Is that you could have said anything, and like I wouldn't have said anything because I have no idea.
Yeah,
was
I still
gonna
don't know if
say,
I was
did you
right.
get
Did you get that right?
I was just intrigued to see whether like.
Did you get that right?
I just know it's got a cow at the front. That's
Yeah.
why they call it the cow, candy cow. Quarramapp.
Quarramapp.
Yeah, beautiful spot though, down near Margaret River,
Yeah, right.
Margaret River. Yeah.
which is cool.
It's a good spot.
So there's not much better than Oreos. I think we're fine there.
Yeah, I think we've got that off. I've got that off my chest now. Anyway, you know.
Do you know what I think there's not much better than?
What's that?
Doing stuff on your own.
Really, you're a big fan of that, are you?
I actually really enjoy doing things by myself. So like, we come in with an interesting thought. You know, what are the things that are fine to do by yourself, and what are the things that are frowned upon, I guess?
Ooh, what's frowned upon? You reckon?
Well, I don't know. Like, is going to a pub by yourself frowned upon?
I think it. I mean,
Like, if you're not going to meet anyone there, you're just going to the pub to go to the pub.
well, it's really up to the person, isn't it? It's kind of the thing that like sucks about like societal norms.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like you might think it's wrong that old mate's gone down to the pub to have a beer and relax.
Well, I definitely don't think it's wrong because I do it.
Yeah, I know, yeah. But you know, like, but if the person's got no problem with it, and he's not, or the person's not hurting someone or making a fool of themselves, like, what's wrong with it? You know, like,
Yeah.
But
I'll often I'll go to the movies by myself. Like if there's a movie I want to watch and I want to watch that movie, there's nothing better than going by yourself with no one that can talk to you, and you can really sit down and enjoy, you know, that movie that you really wanted to watch.
yeah, yeah,
You know? And I talk to some people and they're like, well, you know, why do you go by yourself? And they don't get it.
yeah.
That's just confidence, man. That's like confidence in yourself. I like that. I like that, man.
Is it confidence in yourself?
I reckon
though?
100%. 100%. Like I know like a lot of people who, they don't want to be seen alone.
Oh, really?
I know a lot. 100%. I know a lot of people like that. Yeah.
I
100%
eat,
confidence.
I eat quite often by myself sometimes. I go to the beach quite often
You do, yeah. Yeah.
by myself. Like if no one wants to
You
go,
do?
I'm
Yeah.
just going to go down. Like, it's not going to stop me. I think that's a lot of my thing. Like most of the time I will ask someone or a few people if they want to come along. But if no one does, then most likely I'm still going to go do it by myself. I think that's the thing. Like I'm not going to let that stop me from going.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think if you're like, an interesting one's like a festival or a concert. So say you're a fan of a band and your mates really aren't. Mm-hmm. Do you pay the money and go to that concert because you really want to see the band? Or do you not go because you're by yourself?
I think if it's someone that like you've been hanging out to see for a long time and like... Mate, let's put it in this perspective. If it was Wolski
Yeah,
and Oasis came into town,
yeah.
you're going for sure, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think Wolski actually bought me a ticket to go see Liam Gallagher
Yeah,
because he wanted to go.
yeah.
So I think Wolski would do that, like buy someone a ticket
yes.
to go so that he's not by himself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And he's been on the show before. Yeah, I don't know. Is that a better option than going by yourself?
Maybe if you're not wanting to go by yourself, maybe a good option is like, hey, I'm gonna, I'm buy 2 tickets and.
But what if
Tag someone along.
that person doesn't enjoy it as much, and then you're in the moment and you're just loving it, and then you see them, and they're not really as much, they're not vibing it, and you're sort of like, you ungrateful bastard. I just paid this money to see the greatest moment in music history.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
ticket.
See, like if someone asked me to go somewhere, like even if I don't enjoy it, well, have a couple extra drinks and then you will enjoy it anyway.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's all.
Dutch code.
That's
like,
another thing, man. Like, can you guys go out sober?
Yeah, I've done it recently.
We've had
We've
this.
both done it
We had
recently,
this
yeah.
discussion.
Okay, is it the same?
No.
Answer it truth. It's not.
No,
is it?
not at all.
It's
No.
not. I went out like a few weeks ago, to like my mate's 19th, I think it was, and I was driving and I was sober.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I had like 1 drink. I was like, how do people voluntarily go out sober?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I could.
How do they voluntarily?
And you could as well. You've done it, and Sam definitely could. Yeah, I enjoy a social beverage. So for me, it does take a little bit of the fun out of it, I guess.
It does take the fun out of it, which is like, again, a little bit comes back to that, like going out by yourself thing. Like, can you have that confidence, that like that carefree factor to still act as fun as you would if you were drunk whilst you were sober? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, put it this way: if I've got a belly full, and no one else wants to go to the club, and I want to go to the club, I'm going to the club. Like, you know. But if I'm sober, I'm probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. I might go to the pub if I'm sober, but I'm probably not going to a club
Yeah, good point.
unless I've had a few.
Yeah, I think like obviously it's probably not as fun, but I think as long as you can still have some fun, then you're alright. Like if you're at the point where you're like, I can't go out and slightly enjoy the night with like, especially when you're with your mates or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
That's an
if
issue.
you can't, like, then you need to work on some self-confidence or like something.
Well, I actually think if you've got a mate with you that's not drinking,
Oh,
it's easier. Yeah, because you guys can just sit back and you talk about like normal things. But when you're with, I find that when you're with a whole group of mates and they're all drinking, you're not drinking, say you're the designated driver, that's actually quite difficult.
Yeah, because they're all off
Yeah.
being,
But if you're with one other person, and you shared this story with me,
Yeah.
Sam, when Jalen was out here, you happily go out, but then there's 2 of you.
yeah.
So I think that makes it definitely easier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jalen didn't drink. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's interesting, but yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say it's one of my biggest causes of concerns.
Yeah, well, if you have to, then you
Yeah.
just do it. Yeah, and like I said, anything for my life. If my kids have got sport the next day or whatever, then I have to. Then I'm not. No, that's fine. There's other more important things.
Exactly.
But I think like Dan's saying, it's definitely more fun.
Oh, yeah, it is more fun.
If you can sort of just loosen up a little and just and again, we might sound like it, but we're not a pod that condones over drinking. But, it is nice to go out every now and then. Is there anything else? Like, I think would be weird, like, if you packed a big picnic lunch and went and ate that by yourself.
You reckon?
Yeah, like a proper,
going
like,
out.
basket,
like a
and like you have, like, a blanket and
right,
grass.
yeah.
And like that. I think that would be quite weird.
Maybe. Like, I was going to say, like, grab some food and go to
That's
like
fine.
a spot.
I go sit on the beach
Yeah,
sometimes
that's
and
what
eat.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's
what-
fine.
But yeah, like a full picnic, maybe. But, like, once again, it's, like, kind of like the same as that bloke that's going to the pub and having a beer. Like, someone wants to go have a picnic by themselves. Like,
Yeah. I guess you get a nice book and you can just lay
Yeah,
on the
like-
grass. And
I guess another one maybe is traveling by yourself.
I've done that and I loved it.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about that. I've always wanted to do that.
I've loved it. I went to New York City by myself and enjoyed every moment of it. I got out to meet the people, because it forces you.
But did you do that in like a group though?
No, by myself.
Like in Tiki?
No, by myself.
You travel everything.
Yeah, by
How'd
myself.
you meet people then?
Yeah, I went to the pub.
You went to the pub. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I went
Were
to.
you sober?
Yeah. I went and I died some of the time. And then I'd walk on the street. Like I'd talk to local people.
Yeah.
I'd go on tours. Like you meet other tourists by going on tours and different things.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I booked my own hotel, stayed there. And I've done that in a few different places. And for me, it's a great way to meet people. You obviously have to be intelligent enough to stay out of certain areas and be safe and make sure that certain times of the day or night you're in the right spots. But it's a really good way. And I've met friends, that are friends from me now, and I did that sort of 10 years ago. That we're still pretty close. So
that's the thing. I've never met anyone who like has gone like on a holiday or something, like by themselves, and they haven't enjoyed it. Like everyone I've heard, they've all like loved going out traveling by themselves.
Well, I think it's a mindset, man. Like if you go in and go, well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to have a good time.
Yeah,
you're going to go out and have a good time. Or I'm going to go out and meet people because you're forced to meet people. You're going to meet people. Whereas people can sort of get stuck in their own little, their own little shell, I guess. So you got with a couple of other people.
Yeah.
You do things together. You don't really talk to anyone else because you've got someone to talk to.
Good point. Yeah.
So you're kind of forced to change your mindset a little bit.
Yeah, I enjoyed traveling by myself. Like I did Hawaii by myself.
Yeah.
Just at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's like you said, mindset. Just if you're going to go out there and have a good time, and as long as you, be a bit street smart about where you are and whatnot, and don't put yourself in a position to have something bad happen or something like that, then you're going to be sweet. You're going to have a good time. So.
Well, I guess the message from me is, look, if you want to go do stuff by yourself, be confident, go out and do it. As long as it's don't go out and do something illegal or something that might offend people. But go out and do some things. Like it's okay. Sometimes the freedom gives you some clarity. Sometimes the being alone gives you a bit of clarity, and then sometimes it gives you opportunity to meet new people and do new things as well. So just don't allow others to hold you back. Is probably my message.
Get around it.
Facts.
So I heard you talking, it was a little while ago, Sam, and I remember, maybe this is why it sparked me to watch it, but yesterday I was sitting there, I was, oh man, flicking through Netflix as you do, what can I watch, your flyer was lit, let's just have a chat, and the 3 Identical Strangers popped up. And I do, now that we've sort of had a little conversation, remember you saying something about it a while ago?
I think I did, yeah.
And I thought, man, I've got to watch this, it looks really interesting. But basically, it's a documentary on Netflix, and the gist of the show is there was a guy who went to college in America, and the first day that he rocked up to college, he had all these people come up to him and go, hey man, like, how you going? Like, good to see you, welcome back, and girls coming up and kissing him, and he's just thinking, oh, I don't know any of these people, I've just rocked up, this is my first day, I'm a freshman at college. And then he's walked into this dorm, and a guy has come up to him and basically said to him, what's your birthday? And he's like, 12th of June, 1960 or whatever it was. Where were you born? New York City. And then he said to this guy, I think you've got an identical twin that was at the university the year before. Same university, same dorm, all of that. So they pretty much run out, call this guy, organise a meetup, and the dudes are identical. And they find out that they were twins at birth, and then they were adopted out.
Okay.
Yep. So they were adopted out to separate families.
Wow.
And then
And they're the same color.
that's created like this big story where the newspapers come in, and then they end up being on the front page, and then this other kid picks the front page up, and his mum picks the front page up, and they're like, you will not believe that there's these 2 people on the front page of the newspaper that look exactly like you. Exactly the same. So he calls up one of the parents, and then they meet up, and they find out that all 3 of them were triplets that were separated at birth by this adoption agency, all right, and put out to 3 different families. And they found each other at 19 years old. So It's been 19 years apart, and they get together, which you think in itself is just an absolutely incredible story. But where this stuff gets really, really interesting is that they find out after doing some research that they were put in certain families deliberately. One was a blue-collar family. One was a white-collar family that was quite wealthy. And there was one family that was middle class. And basically, psychologists would come and visit them every year and study them in their different environments to see, how that they ended up from different parenting or whatnot. And they told the parents, because they didn't know they were triplets, that it was a study for all adopted children. So the parents didn't even know that they were triplets. So it obviously comes to question, you know, is it ethical for an adoption agency to separate identical twins or identical triplets? Because they found out that it was like 30 odd twins or triplets. There was a bunch of families that they did that to, and a bunch of research. And probably the most disappointing thing is they never used anything. They never used the research for anything.
Yeah, there was nothing that no conclusion came from it. That's the thing. Yeah.
Well, other than there was some conclusions, but they've never published them. So, like, all the boys enjoyed similar things. They looked exactly the same. They had the same mannerisms. Yep, they sounded the same. They spoke the same, and they were all from different families.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So there's hereditary stuff there, which was really, really, really interesting. But like everything, they're all quite individual in certain areas as well. And I won't go into it, but there was a really sad part of it as well. Of their story. But it's just right. So do you guys what's your thoughts? Like, obviously interesting story, but like ethically, like for research reasons, it sounds like very Cold War-ish to me. But
it's because it was, when was it? It was quite the 90s or something, 80s, 90s.
Yeah, 80s. Yeah.
Because it was
So it was like, I think it was from 1960 something to 1980.
Yeah. So
20 years.
Obviously times have changed a lot since then. But then also, it wouldn't surprise me if something like that was still going on somewhere now. You know what I mean? I think, it probably sounds bad the way I say it, but because it's easy to do, because they're there, and people are always curious. And sometimes, I guess, the curiosity...
Killed the cat.
Yeah, it's just not the right thing, I guess, to...
Well, I guess, if they didn't end up going to the same university, would they have ever found each other? And would have had these 3 triplets that...
Well, that's the thing. Like, as if that happened, you know what I mean? Like, out of all university, they've gone to the same one, and that's how that happened, you know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy how they found that out.
And apparently there's still a bunch of twins that were separated that actually don't know they're twins.
Yeah,
they've never... because they didn't release any information. These just guys...
Yes, that would have sparked more interest then, eh?
Yeah. It's just bizarre. And I watched that and I was just like, man, that just blew my absolute mind. I just thought, how can humans with hearts and brains do that to kids? I understand that it's probably harder to adopt out 3 separate kids. It probably is. 3 kids together. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure they would have found someone that was like, yeah, I'd take, all, because to keep them together.
But they're doing like a study on it, you know what I mean, as well. So they knew all about it.
Well,
they were tracking it.
When they were babies, apparently all 3 kids did the same thing. They'll bash their heads against the wall and because there's separation anxiety there.
Yeah.
Like because they'd shared a womb with these other babies, obviously, and they're in the same bed when we're in the orphanage, and then they get separated. And so it's psychologically, it's got to do some sort of
It's like, even when you think about it, though, like, what is that research at the end of the day really gonna do to like change?
Well, I guess they're trying to work out that it doesn't matter who your parents are. Are you going to end up the same, or has the parents got that bigger influence?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like the parents that raise you, not your biological parents, or is it hereditary? Are your traits are they hereditary, or are they given by the people that raise you?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's what they're trying to find. So they, and I think they found out that they're all obviously different, but there's a lot that
carries
through.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't do it.
Well, I wouldn't have thought you would do it.
No, like if I was a researcher, I wouldn't be like, split up these 3 kids.
Yeah. But were their traits still the same because they grew up in different.
Very, very similar.
So the traits were the same.
The way they moved, the way they spoke. Yeah.
And their mannerisms.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. All the same.
And they grew up in different families.
Yeah. I thought it was quite funny that one of the big things they mentioned a few times, they liked the same cigarettes.
Yeah, that was
that's not the bit. That wasn't the thing that sort of I was like, well,
priorities in life.
Yeah. But again, it was the 80s, and
and
and cigarettes were huge, and all of that sort of stuff. So I just thought I thought that was interesting.
It is a good doco though, because like I do remember when I told you about it, you watch the first 30 minutes or so, and you're like, oh, like cool story, but not very exciting for Netflix, but then it just it flips and turns, and it's if you haven't watched it, it's something interesting to watch.
Yeah, and you've watched something interesting recently?
I did. I'm kind of still watching it. It's all about like deportation in America. Obviously, when Trump came in, he enforced a couple laws and stuff, I guess, to make it a lot harder for illegal immigrants and stuff like that to stay in the country. Some of the stories are when the parents got deported from America and they had kids, they'd actually take the kids away from their parents.
Yeah, well, that's
and the kids would go to a separate
concentration camp.
I was about to say a concentration camp, but then I was like, that's the wrong word.
Yeah, immigration facility.
Yeah, kind of thing, which was all weird. But I think that lasted about 6 months or something, and they got changed. But then they had to go through the problem of finding the kids again and matching them with their parents.
Yeah, man, double the work.
Crazy. But a lot of interesting things, like some of like the illegal immigrants have been there since like the 70s or 80s, never caused like serious offences or stuff like that. Worked, did all that kind of stuff, like moved somewhere for the better of their family. And then when Trump came in and changed the laws, they could just get picked up and sent to the immigration thing and sent back. It was crazy. Yeah. It's like ICE. ICE is the department. I don't know what it is. Immigration something. But it's really interesting because like the people that work in that department have conflicting views. Some of them are like, I'm just doing my job.
Yeah.
Others are like, someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's really interesting to see like the different points of views that you get about it, which I think, and I mean, there's probably a lot of countries that kind of go through that same thought process of what's...
Would have been interesting to talk to Troy, who's been on before, because he worked in immigration for a long time.
Really?
About that. Yeah. So he did a lot of interviews. Interesting. Is Trump the most interesting president of all time?
Ooh. Most
Now,
controversial.
I'm not saying that in like a positive way, but you know what I mean? Like, he's done some things. And can you honestly believe that the American people are considering voting for him again?
Are they?
Well, is that the consensus?
Well, I'm not exactly sure where it is now, but he's in the running. So
yeah, it's interesting.
Wouldn't surprise me, man. Like people, better the devil you know.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, some of the things I hear. Anyway. So we might talk after this election. We might have a chat about, because American politics is quite interesting. I think globally, particularly if you're a Western nation, it impacts everyone. So I think maybe in the future we'll talk about him. But if you were to say one word about Trump, what would it be, Dan?
Entertaining.
Yeah.
Entertaining.
All right, what would you say, Sammy?
Gee whiz. Gee whiz is probably what I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say it's rhyme with stick. All right, so I've got an interesting... I think it's an interesting topic anyway, because because you're young, Dan, and Sam, you're young as well, and I'm quite old. And if we walked into the same room, how do you think they would treat us differently?
Well, you're the old man.
Yep.
And we're the young bucks.
Yeah. So what I mean, like, are they going to treat us? Are they going to talk to us the same way? Are they going to talk to us differently? Are we,
I think off face value, they'll probably, depending on who the person is. If the person, that room that we walk into, if it's a younger crowd, the younger people might talk to us in a bit more younger person lingo or kind of, and then maybe if they talk to you, they'll try and find a bit more like common ground of something that maybe is like stereotypically
like
everyone enjoys, or something like whether it's like football or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that would be the only difference.
What do you reckon, Dan?
Yeah, well, like if you walk into like a younger crowd, they'll obviously speak to you more formal, I reckon. You know, like shake hands, that type of thing. But if they spoke to me, it'd be like, "Oh, what's up, bro?" Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that fun type thing. But because I know you, like I speak to you, like, "Hey, what's up, man?" Like,
I know,
"Hey, what's up, bro?" But like if I meet someone else older, or like
That you don't know yet.
or like the same age, like it'd be like the formal handshake type thing. But yeah, like I guess like if you know them and you know what I mean, and like the crowd you're in,
Yeah.
that you're going into.
So, like, yeah, I guess the other question is, you guys are quite young. Like, if you had like a mid-30s, like you're at a pub and you got a mid-30s lady there who's available, and then you've got someone like in their mid-20s who's available, and then you got someone early 20s like you guys, are you going to talk to them differently? You say you're just as interested in all of them.
Nah, it doesn't change.
Doesn't change for you?
Same lines.
Give us one of your crackers.
Nah, nothing special. Just what are you drinking? Something like that. Just to get a bit of conversation flowing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
If my drink's empty, especially if my drink's empty, I ask them what they're drinking if it looks like something a bit like interesting.
Yeah.
And then I don't know.
Did you buy them one?
Nah, hell no.
Well, that's
I ain't got no money.
That's crazy.
Nah, maybe if they're...
Do you know what they're thinking though? Oh, what are you drinking? You know what they're thinking? You're going to buy one.
Yeah.
And then you turn into the guy that's the arsehole that asks them what they're drinking, but you don't buy them a drink.
Oh, yeah. I'm not there to please anyone.
Sam, you're not doing yourself any favours.
I love it, man.
What about you?
Have you got any lines?
Yeah, are you going to talk to them differently? Like if it's like an older woman? Or...
Look, if it's an older, attractive woman, like I'm not gonna lie, I think I like stutter and I feel nervous and shit. I feel nervous.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
But if it's like like a mid-20s, like a younger 20s, yeah, like I'll be, like I'll use my lines,
Yeah. So give us a line.
Oh, I don't want to give away all my secrets, man.
Just give me one. Give me one.
This is. Yeah. God, I'm saying this. Jesus Christ. This is what I do. So I walk up to him, right?
Yeah.
And I'll grab him by the arm or at the waist,
right?
Yeah. I'll be like, "Wow, out of everyone here, your smile just stands out. I had to talk to you, right?" And then, right, because it doesn't seem like a pickup line, does it?
It does.
No, it doesn't. It does not. That does not seem like a pickup line. That just seems like a straight, like a compliment.
Well, so you'd go up to anyone and just say, "Look, your smile stands out." No, you're going up to the girl you want to have time with.
Exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right. And then, like they'll usually like laugh or giggle type thing, and then like it just creates like conversation like that, kind of like an icebreaker type thing. But like when you do talk to them and just straight away you get bad vibes, like they're just not interested. You know what I mean? Then it's just like, all right, like I'll see you later, but it wasn't like a pickup line type thing. You know what I mean? That's what I always do. It
works.
That's all right.
I was like, just keep on smiling, and then you walk away.
That's what I was like.
You bloody snob.
Man. All right, so I like it, bro. I like it.
Just to sort of move on, like, do you think, like, say you meet two dudes, and one's a doctor and one's a brickie, and you know both of these people.
I'm getting with the brickie.
Do you change the way you talk to them because one's a doctor, one's a brickie?
Me personally, no. Like, definitely not. Like, as an adult, I would speak to the principal the same that I'll speak to the janitor. You know what I mean?
Good.
Like, that's just how I was like brought up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Sam?
I think like I speak to everyone the same from the start, but then once you dive into conversation a bit more, you can kind of get a vibe of how their what their language is like, I guess, and you can kind of accommodate to that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I think that's what most people would do. Like.
Yeah. I'm trying to drop my best Grey's Anatomy language on a doctor.
Grey's Anatomy, man. Yeah. Hey, I'm on that grind right now. Grey's Anatomy.
I'm going to call stat and all that sort of stuff.
I'm actually low-key learning. Man, I want to be a heart surgeon now. I'm being serious.
What are your thoughts though, Nixie? Because you didn't really give us your thoughts on the older versus younger. We gave
Oh.
you us on the younger.
Absolutely. I feel like I see all the time that, say, a young person goes into a place, because I hang out with you guys sometimes, that they get treated differently to what I get treated.
Yeah.
Because I'm older.
Yeah.
And, you know,
In what way?
just people tend to be a little bit more, like you said, a little bit more respectful.
Yeah.
You know, with people that are, which is a good thing in general. Whereas with young people, there's like a preconceived idea that they're, I guess they don't deserve as much respect. I guess, yeah. So I see that.
Yeah.
I see that, and I think you'd be silly not to talk to an older lady that that you might be interested in different to a young girl, because they're completely different stages of their life, and you need to understand that, you know, there's different things happening. So I think you've got to go in with a different. You still be yourself, but you've got to go in understanding that they're in a different mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's happened, Sam?
Nothing, mate. We're ticking time bomb right now. We're at the end of our show time.
How long have we been on?
It's about 46 minutes.
46
mate.
minutes.
That's
Yeah,
about our due time.
That's it. So that's it. That's how we do it. How'd you find it, Dan?
Good. It's fun, man. Yeah, love talking smack with you guys.
So I just want to remind everyone to follow us on our social media avenues. So Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
We're not on the Twitter train.
Nah, that's the account's there if you want to follow, but there's no.
We have an account, so hit us on Twitter and we'll never ever see it. Ever. We're loving hashtags. Those hashtag opinions unqualified. Make sure you share. Please share with your friends. Share with your family. What I'd love to set a challenge for someone to get a celebrity to admit that they listen. Yeah. So someone get out there and just hit up all the celebs. That'd be cool.
President Trump. Hit him up.
Yeah. Everyone that listens to the show, send a direct message to Donald Trump. Anything else, Sammy?
Nah, that's it. Take it easy.
Be happy. Be safe. Sure.